Sherlock Holmes. I hope all of you are ready with page 34, worksheet 6, Dr. Watson meets Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so this is an excerpt taken from the book titled A Study in Scarlet. Yes, A Study in Scarlet. Just mark it in your textbook, okay? The excerpt, Dr. Watson meets Sherlock Holmes, is taken from the book A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And in this chapter, we find that Dr. Watson is meeting Sherlock Holmes for the first time. Okay, so in total, we come across 3 characters. One is Dr. Watson, the second is Sherlock Holmes, and the third one is Stamford. And Stamford is the one who introduces Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes. All right, so shall we begin? Yes. Dr. Watson, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, said Stamford, introducing us. How are you? Holmes said warmly, shaking my hand. You have been in Afghanistan, I see. How did you know that? I asked in astonishment. So in the first few paragraphs, we find that Dr. Watson is meeting Sherlock Holmes for the first time. Stamford has brought Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes. Okay, and they exchange a conversation between them. And Holmes makes a comment. You have been in Afghanistan, I see. So how come Holmes understand that Dr. Watson was in Afghanistan? Can you think of some reason? How come he understand that? Come on, children, think of some reason. How can Sherlock Holmes understand that Dr. Watson was in Afghanistan? All of you are thinking very seriously, thinking hard. Kiran, Aryan, Alan, Dennis, Dion.
Maybe he had was some part of it.
Maybe.
Maybe he had worn some things from Afghan culture.
Yes, maybe he had bought. Yes, maybe he had bought some things from Afghanistan, or he might have a dressing or a dressing style or costume that suggests that he has gone to Afghanistan. Something like that, isn't it? Anyway, we know that Sherlock Holmes is very observant. He observes people very well. So he might have got some clue regarding this, and that is why he makes a comment. You have been in Afghanistan. How did you know that? I asked in astonishment. Astonishment means surprised. Just write down the meaning there. Surprised. So who is the narrator? Who is the narrator of the story? Is it Stamford or Sherlock Holmes or Dr. Watson?
Dr. Watson.
Yes, Dr. Watson. Never mind, said he, chuckling to himself. Chuckling. What do you mean by chuckling? Chuckling. Chuckling means to laugh quietly. To laugh quietly. Never mind, said he, chuckling to himself. We came here for some work, said Stamford, sitting down. My friend, Dr. Watson, is looking for a place to stay. And as you two were looking to share rooms with someone, I thought I had better bring you together. So what is the intention of Stamford in bringing Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes? Why did he bring Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes? Aryan?
Because they were looking for a place to stay, and
Yes.
both of them wanted to share rooms.
Yes, absolutely correct. Dr. Watson was looking for a place to stay, and Sherlock Holmes was also looking for the same. Okay, so Stamford thought that he can bring both of them together so that they can share a room. Holmes seemed delighted at the idea. Delighted. Delighted means pleased. Delighted. Delighted means pleased. So Holmes became so happy at the idea. I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street, he said, which would suit us very well. By the way, I usually have chemicals around and occasionally do experiments. Would that annoy you? So what does this sentence suggest? I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street. What does that sentence shows? Was Sherlock Holmes really interested to share his room with somebody else?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No? No? No or yes?
No, ma'am.
Holmes seemed delighted
ma'am.
at the idea, and
Yes,
he
ma'am.
says, I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street. So is he ready to share his room with somebody else?
Yes.
No, ma'am.
Yes, yes. He's ready. He's delighted at the idea. Okay, he became pleased at the idea. So he was feeling so happy that he found a perfect partner in Dr. Watson. I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street, he said, which would suit us very well. Did you notice that? Us, plural. So he's quite happy to share the room with Dr. Watson. By the way, I usually have chemicals around and occasionally do experiments. Would that annoy you? What do you mean by annoying? Annoy means?
Disturb
Yes, annoy means irritate.
or irritate you.
Yes, irritate. So Holmes says that he usually do a lot of experiments and he has got chemicals around him to conduct these experiments. So he's asking Dr. Watson whether it would annoy him or not. By no means. Dr. Watson does not have any problem. He says, oh, no means. I don't have any problem. Let me see. What are my other shortcomings? Shortcoming means faults. What are the problems that the other person would find to with? I get in the dumps at times and don't talk for days on end. So what is the first fault with Sherlock Holmes? He gets in the dumps, gets in the dumps. That means, what do you mean by that phrase? He becomes
Sad and
depressed.
Sad.
Yeah.
And depressed.
Yes, he becomes sad and depressed at times. And once he becomes sad and depressed, he will not talk to anybody else for some time. Just let me alone and I'll soon be right. Is there anyone with such a kind of nature here? No, you're all smart ones, right? Even though you become emotional at times, you will be able to overcome it very soon. But I think I'm such a sort of person. When I was a child, I had the same, nature of Sherlock Holmes. If I become emotional, if I become sad, I will refuse to talk to anybody. Yes. So here we find that Sherlock Holmes says that he gets in the dumps at times and he will not talk to anyone for days. And he says, just let me alone and I'll be soon right. What have you to confess? It is just as well for two fellows to know the worst of one another before they begin to live together. So they are going to share the rooms and they have to know them better. So that will make it more easy and comfortable. So he's asking Dr. Watson, what have you to confess? What have you to disclose? What do you want to reveal yourself to me? I laughed. I cannot take noise because my nerves are shaken. And I get up at all sorts of strange hours and I am extremely lazy. Come on, mark these lines. Mark these lines in the text. What does Dr. Watson says about himself? What are his shortcomings? He cannot take noise because his nerves are shaken. He feels nervous very easily. He feels nervous very easily and he can't bear with noise. And he gets up at all sorts of strange hours. Even in the midst of his sleep, sometimes he wakes up, and he is also an extremely lazy person. But then comes the question, how can a doctor be lazy? He's supposed to treat the patients, right? Huh? Yes. These are the main ones. Okay, so Dr. Watson also reveals the shortcomings from his side. Will violin playing annoy you? He asked anxiously. Who asked that question?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is a speaker. Will violin playing annoy you? When you hear the sound or the music of violin, will that irritate you? It depends on the player. Look at the response. It depends on the player. Violin, the music produced by violin is extremely soothing. What do you think? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's a very soothing, calm music. Violin music. So Dr. Watson says it depends on the player. I answered, a well-played violin is a treat for the soul. Treat here means pleasure. Treat. Treat means pleasure. A well-played violin is a treat for the soul, for the heart, for the mind. A badly played one, that's quite understood, isn't it? If someone plays a violin, if he or she does not know how to play, then that will be, like a nightmare. We will not be able to bear the sound or the music then. Oh, that's all right, he cried with a merry laugh. I think we may treat the matter as settled. That is, if you like the rooms. So what is the matter they're talking about? What's the matter they're talking about?
Sharing the room.
Yes, yes. They consider that the matter is settled, the matter is decided. That is sharing of the rooms. They are planning to share the rooms with each other. When shall we see them? Call for me here at noon tomorrow, and we will go and settle everything, he answered. Okay, so Sherlock Holmes has already fixed an apartment which is there on the Baker Street, and both of them are planning to go and look into it the next day. Okay, so Dr. Watson asked Sherlock Holmes, when shall we see them? Them refers to what?
In the
Room.
apartment.
Yes, the rooms in the apartment. Yeah. All right, said I, shaking his hand. Stamford and I left Holmes working with his chemicals in his laboratory and walked towards my hotel. So what impression do you get about Sherlock Holmes from this sentence? What was Sherlock Holmes doing when Stamford and Dr. Watson visited him? Come on, children.
I'm working with these chemicals.
Yes, absolutely correct, Ellen. He was working with his chemicals. He was working in his laboratory. By the way, I asked suddenly, stopping and turning towards Stamford, how did he know that I was in Afghanistan? So Dr. Watson is still curious. He did not understand how come Sherlock Holmes realized that he had been to Afghanistan recently. Stamford gave a mysterious smile. That is just his little peculiarity. A good many people have wanted to know how he finds things out. So almost all the people is curious about Sherlock Holmes' nature. How come he find out things? How he detects things and how he reason it. And we have seen that in the chapter, The Adventure of the Beryl Coronet. So I hope you know how Sherlock Holmes works on. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So a good many people have wanted to know how he finds things out. A mystery, is it? I cried, rubbing my hands. So Dr. Watson understood that Sherlock Holmes is on the whole a mysterious person. We will not be able to understand him in the real sense. This is very interesting. I'm very grateful to you for bringing us together. Grateful means thankful. I'm so glad that I have met a person like Sherlock Holmes. And I'm really thankful to you for bringing me close to him. You must observe and understand him then. You'll find him a difficult problem though. Problem here means puzzle. Huh? When we get puzzles, we find it difficult to solve it. Am I right? Yes?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Sudoku. Sudoku is a kind of puzzle and it's very tricky. You have to think a lot to find the solution for it. Yes. So Stamford says that you must observe and understand him. You have to observe a lot. And you will find him a difficult problem, though. I assure you that he will learn more about you than you about him. Goodbye. Goodbye, I answered and went into my hotel. So this is how Dr. Watson met Sherlock Holmes for the first time. And this is all about before they become close friends. Okay, this excerpt is all about their first meeting and what are the kinds of conversation that exchanged between them and how did Dr. Watson find Sherlock Holmes as a mysterious person. Okay, I hope the passage is clear to you. Quickly go through the important points, then we can discuss the comprehension. Please go through the text. Samuel, did you get the text, both the text, the workbook and the course book?
No, ma'am.
Not yet?
No.
Okay. What about the worksheet that we are dealing with now?
No, ma'am. I will be asking today.
Try to get it from any one of your friends, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And please take a notebook so that we can write the question answers now. Samuel, please take out your notebook or a piece of paper so that you can write down the question answers.
Okay, ma'am.
Have you all finished reading? Yes, at least. Did you go through the main points?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Take page number 36. Let's discuss the questions. First one, why were Stamford and the speaker visiting Sherlock Holmes? Why were Stamford and the speaker visiting Sherlock Holmes? Who will give me the answer? Do you know the reason why Stamford took Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes?
Ma'am, ma'am, to
Yes.
share the room, your Sherlock Holmes.
Make the answer complete.
And
Okay,
because
to share
Sherlock
the room,
Holmes
I
was
agree.
looking for a room, so that Stamford came and asked him to share
Yes.
a room with
Yes, Dr.
Watson,
Watson
Dr.
was
Watson.
looking for a room, a place to stay, and Sherlock Holmes was also wanted to share rooms with someone. Isn't it?
Yes,
So he thought he would bring Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes. So write down the answer. First one, Stamford and the speaker. Who is the speaker?
Dr. Watson.
Dr. Watson.
Very good, Dr. Watson. Stamford and the speaker were visiting Holmes. Holmes. Okay. Holmes. Stamford and the speaker were visiting Holmes because both Holmes and the speaker were looking for a place to stay and a person to share it with. Stamford and the speaker were visiting Holmes because both Holmes and the speaker were looking for a place to stay and a person to share it with. Have you finished writing the first answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I going fast for you, children?
No, ma'am.
Is it fine for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So let's move to the second question. Pick a sentence that shows that Holmes was fine with sharing rooms with the speaker. Yes. Who will give me a sentence?
Holmes seemed delighted at the idea.
That's all, Dia.
I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street, he said, which would suit us well.
Very good. Very good. Perfect answer. So write down. I have, it should be put in double quotation, okay? Because that is a dialogue spoken by Sherlock Holmes. So this is a sentence. I have an eye. I have my eyes. Yeah. I have my eye on an apartment. I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street, which would suit us, which would suit us very well. Put a full stop and close the double quotation. I have my eye on an apartment in Baker Street, which would suit us very well.
I can show the first.
Yes. I know that after attempting the objective type of questions, you have lost the touch with writing. For term 1 exam, you have both the test, objective as well as descriptive. So please do practice writing as well. Okay. Now the third question. What were Holmes' faults? Who is going to give me the answer? Akash?
And when he gets sad, he will not speak to anyone and
Yes. Then?
for a whole time.
That's all?
And he will
When he becomes sad or upset, he will not talk to anyone for a long time. And then? One more point is there. Look
He
into your
cannot
text.
He'll be
Look
sitting
into your
alone.
text.
He'll be sitting alone.
Yes. That is a request. That is a request by Holmes to Dr. Watson. Just let me alone and I'll be soon all right. Another point.
I cannot take
Okay.
noise
Yes,
because my nerves are
around.
shaking.
No.
He
I
does
cannot
experiment.
take noise. That is said by Dr. Watson. Okay, those are
And
the
he
shortcomings.
usually does experiments.
Yes, very good, Aryan. Very good. He does experiments. He has chemicals around him and he does a lot of experiments in the laboratory. So write down the answer for the third question. What were Holmes' faults? The answer is Holmes mentioned that his shortcomings included the fact that he usually had chemicals around him. He usually had chemicals around him to conduct his experiments. And that he was moody and depressed. At times. And at those times, he did not talk for days on end. He did not talk for days. On end. Okay. Holmes mentioned that his shortcomings included the fact that he usually had chemicals around him to conduct his experiments, and that he was moody and depressed at times, and at those times he did not talk on end.
Ma'am, after he did not talk for days, is it there?
He did not talk. Yes, yes. He did not talk for days. Yes, correct. He did not talk for days on end. Have you all completed this answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving on to the fourth question. Where was Holmes when the speaker had gone to meet him?
At his laboratory.
In his laboratory.
Yes, correct answer. Holmes was in his laboratory. Holmes was in his laboratory. When the speaker had gone to meet him. When the speaker had gone to meet him. Holmes was in his laboratory when the speaker had gone to meet him. What happened, Advait?
Yes.
Tired of keeping the headset?
Yes, ma'am, some pains.
Yes, yes. Sometimes even I also feel the same. What can we do?
Yes.
All right. Have you all completed the fourth answer?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No. Okay, write down fast. Okay, the last question. What was Holmes' peculiarity? What was Holmes' peculiarity?
He used to notice people.
Yes. He
Dot.
found out things about people without telling them anything. Isn't it? So write down Holmes' peculiarity. Holmes' peculiarity was that he found out things. He found out things he found out things about people without them telling him anything about those things. Holmes' peculiarity was that he found out things about people without them telling him anything about those things. So we have completed the comprehension section A. The remaining exercises we'll do it in the next class. Okay. So let me mark your attendance now. Arav,
Present, ma'am.
Eben Anthony, absent. Advait present. Afrinami present. Akash present. Alina, are you there?
Present,
Present.
ma'am.
Okay, present. Alan Jolie present. Aryan present. Asim Nabil. Asim
Present, ma'am.
present. Okay.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Avanish present. Avanita present. Asad
Present, ma'am.
present. Azra present. Dennis present. Dion present. Devanarayan
Present, ma'am.
present. Okay. Dia present. Faisal, are you there? Faisal absent. Fayuna. Felix
Present, ma'am.
present. Okay. Gautam.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Jagan Krishna. Jagan absent. Joel absent. Kiran present. Mariam. Mariam absent. Mehul. I think Mehul is present. Mehul, are you there? No response. Nada present. Nigel present. Naveen present. Neha Mary
Present, ma'am.
present. Okay. Nihal
Present, ma'am.
present. Prithviraj absent. Priyanna present.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Sarangdas present. Sharanya. Shivakrishna.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. So absentees are Eben Anthony, Faisal, Fayuna, Jagan, Joel, Mariam, Mehul.
Jagan is present.
Jagan is present. Okay. Mehul is also present. Okay. All right. Mariam, Prithviraj and Sharanya. Okay. 4 absentees. No, not 4, 6. Eben, Faisal, Fayuna, Joel, then Prithviraj and Sharanya. Okay. All right. So children, we'll continue with the remaining exercises in the next class. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.